Hi everyone, it's Shari Criso and we're here with My Baby Experts and it is a special edition. We had such a fabulous episode just a couple weeks ago with Sarah Tilton from Britax. And we never got to finish all the amazing questions that came in, and there were so many. And it was after that episode that we really saw how many questions people really had about car seat safety. And knowing what an important topic this truly is, we did not want to not answer any one last question that came in. So Sarah so graciously agreed to be back with me for a special episode to answer some of those questions and finish up things that we never got to get to. So I have Sarah on the line with me. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Shari. Thank you for having me back.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming back. Welcome.
Well, I'm very excited and hope everyone had a great holiday, but hopefully we'll get to answer most of those questions that the audience had for us.
Absolutely. After we got off the show the other night, we both talked to each other and said, there were still so many questions we just never got to. We ran out of time. It happens with the show. It goes rather quickly, and these questions are just too important not to complete. So I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to get right to business because this is a Q&A, and we want to try to get through as many of the questions as we can. And so I'm going to just start reading off some of the questions that came in from our wonderful viewers. Some of them are with us and some of them are not today. But that's okay because they'll be able to watch themselves and go back and watch the replays of their answers. So let's start with a couple questions that we did not get to then. One of them came in from, came in from Katie Johnson, and she is from Arizona, and she wanted to know, she said, I know all car seats sold in stores pass the same safety requirements, but how do you know which ones are really better? Any particular ones that we would know that are really better, and how do you tell the difference? Sarah? Did we lose Sarah already? Let's see. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Sarah? Okay, it's not coming up on the speaker. Hold on a second. We're having technical difficulties here. Are we good? Oh boy. Should we start again?
Hello?
Yes, hello. Okay. There we go. Okay, so...
Whoops. That's a great question. Which car seat is better? There's so many out there. They all have different safety features. I think we mentioned last time they all have to meet the same baseline safety standards.
Yes.
But each added feature that adds cost to it does add an extra layer of protection. It's like buying that extra insurance policy. Britax products have several added features, such as EPS and EPP foam lining to absorb energy, plush thick fabrics that make them more comfortable for the child. Click and safe snug harness indicator indicates when the harness is appropriately snug around the child. Those are the sum of the many features. So when you're going to retail to look at a new car seat, what features do you think will help you and what features maybe aren't so much of a requirement for you?
Yes. As we're discussing the different features and why, Britax makes such wonderful seats, there is a video that I've been wanting to play it for the last 2 episodes, and we haven't gotten a chance to play it because it really does explain some of the inner workings, the infrastructure of the seats. And I know that they're upgraded and improved all the time, but these are some of the newest features. I'd like to play the video if that's okay right now, because I think people really need to see how well they're made.
That's a great idea.
Okay, let's do that right now, and then we'll move on to the questions.
After years of continuing innovation, Britax brings you the next level of safety, comfort, and ease of use. Kids grow fast, and you'll find that our next generation of Britax convertibles have been designed to comfortably fit your child, from a new 5-pound bundle all the way to 40 pounds rear-facing to remain in the safest position as long as possible. Our new convertibles also accommodate your child forward-facing up to 70 pounds and feature multiple buckle and recline positions to maintain comfort as your child grows. As your child gets taller, simply adjust the quick adjust harness to the proper shoulder height without disassembling the harness. At Britax, we know life gets messy, so we've developed the Easy Remove cover set for quick and easy cleaning without having to disassemble the harness or uninstall the child seat from the vehicle. Now you can get back on the road in record time. Installation with a new Britax convertible is easy on you and your car. Each base is equipped with an anti-slip rubber surface that grips and protects the vehicle seat. You can install your new Britax convertible using the latch or seatbelt method. For the latch method, Britax convertibles feature premium lower connectors for a quick and simple installation, and a push button for easy release. You'll find our premium lower connectors transition effortlessly from rear-facing to forward-facing. For installations using the vehicle seatbelt, the new Britax convertibles feature easy access belt paths with built-in lock-offs designed to ensure a secure installation with minimal effort. We know when it's time to go, it's time to go. That's why you'll find convenient harness strap holders to speed up the boarding process and help your child get snugged into our tangle-free 5-point harness. On select models, our patented Click and Safe Snug Harness Indicator provides an audible aid when the harness is within range of appropriate snugness. Britax also offers a range of travel accessories, including cup holders, to make traveling a smooth experience. Even if you properly install your new Britax convertible and secure your precious cargo, there are still forces outside of your control. That's why Britax has integrated superior 360-degree protection in every convertible car seat. Head injury and designed with unprecedented safety, comfort, and ease of use. Britax.
All right, awesome. I'm so glad we were able to get through that video. I've been wanting to do that for the last 2 weeks, so fantastic. It really goes through the fantastic features that I think a lot of people, like the last question we just asked of how do I know which one to purchase and what features am I looking for? I think there are features that sometimes you can't see, right? That are not like the visual aesthetics of the seat, but actually the workings of the seat that are most important in keeping your child safe.
There are, and there's a lot that goes into the design, testing, manufacturing of a car seat as well. We have an on-site sled. We can run sled tests at any period throughout our design phase. Everything is housed within one facility, so our engineers, our test sled, our customer service, all the feedback and input is in one building, and it's just an awesome input.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So let's move on to some more questions so that we have a chance to answer them all here. This is from Danica in Canada, and she wanted to know what is the maximum weight and height for rear-facing a Britax roundabout. And this is one of the seats that you have. I think this is a question that really goes to talking about like height and weight requirements.
Okay. In Canada, here in the United States, we have no maximum height capacity on our car seats for rear facing. In Canada, up until a few years ago, they did have Britax seats did have a maximum height capacity. So just check on your label or on your car seat or in your car seat user guide, depending on the age of your car seat. But current car seats that we manufacture for Canada as well do not have a maximum standing height capacity. We focus on the child's weight, which in the current seats are 40 pounds rear facing. You always want to make sure that you can achieve a harness height that is at or slightly below the child's shoulders, and that you have a minimum of 1 inch of seat shell from the top of the child's head to the top of the seat shell. If you have less than 1 inch, that child is too tall for that seat rear facing.
Yeah, I see that so much with the car seats, you know, where the child's head is up above the car seat itself.
Yep.
And that obviously is not going to give the protection they need. Correct.
Rear facing is a little bit different than forward facing. So rear facing, we need to have that extra space of shell from the top of the head to the top of the seat shell, because in that impact, the baby does what we call ride or ramps up the seat back.
Yes.
And we don't want the top of their head to come out of that seat shell that's going to protect them.
Yeah. So many people focus on weights, like on what is the weight weight requirement, what's the weight limits. I know when I'm even talking about car seats here in the store, that's the first question. They're not really asking about height. And you can have a thin, lightweight, tall child that won't fit in the seat.
Correct, correct. We sometimes lose sight that it's any one of the parameters and the child doesn't fit.
Yes.
Most people, for whatever reason, focus on, well, they still fit the weight capacity. Why doesn't the child fit any longer?
It makes total sense. This next question came from Tanya in Tennessee. And she asked, if we have larger babies, she said, such as my 1-year-old who weighs 27 pounds and fairly long, what would be the best car seat? So I guess this comes back to the same answer here.
Yes, and I would recommend a convertible to keep that baby rear facing as long as possible. For instance, Britax convertibles go to 40 pounds rear facing right now. We have no maximum standing height capacity. So you'd want to keep that baby rear facing as long as they've met the weight requirement. You can get the appropriate harness height, and you have the seat shell above their top of their head.
Gotcha.
Even though that they're at least 1-year-old, but they're a heavier child in weight, it isn't their weight that builds the strength to their structure. It's the amount of time that their skeletal system has to calcify and become strong.
Yes. Yes. Okay. It's really good to know. This question came from Morgan in Colorado. And Morgan asks, she said she has a Maxi Cosi from Germany. It's only a 3-point harness. Are those okay in the States, or does she need to buy a new car seat that is a 5-point harness? Good question.
Well, 5-point harnesses do contact the child at 5 points versus a 3-point harness. But the more, and we have had 3 points here in the United States, they've just kind of phased out for whatever reason. The more important part of this question is that the Maxi Cosi that she's using is certified for use in Europe. It is not certified for use in the United States per the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 213. So here in the United States, any car seat that you use must be certified for use per FMVSS 213. For that reason alone, I would recommend that she acquire a child restraint certified for use here in the U.S.
Yeah, that's really important. I guess, people are traveling so much these days, coming from one country to the next, really, bringing their car seats, not really understanding that they may not be approved here. And and so it's different countries.
We see a lot of that with our military as well. When their stations change, etc.
Yeah.
But you always want to, if you're living in a country, your car seat typically has to be certified for use in that country.
Yeah. We see that with different strollers where people, they want to purchase a stroller with a car seat that goes with it, but those car seats are not approved here, and so they cannot be bought here.
Yes.
Yep. Now, the question that did come in was one that, how do you tighten, and this comes to the tethers. So this would be when you're tethering in the car seat onto the hooks within your car. How do you install and tighten the tether straps properly? I know a lot of people have problems with that and not knowing what are they supposed to be doing.
Okay, and we're talking about rear facing, correct?
Correct,
Mary?
rear facing.
Okay. Rear facing tether for a Britax seat, you have 2 options. You can tether what we call Swedish, which is using the little connector strap and going down to the vehicle seat frame of the vehicle seat in front of the child restraint. Or you can directly hook the tether hook to a designated tether anchor point that's in the rear window shelf or on the back of the seat that the car seat is installed in. So that means that the tether strap goes around each side of the car seat, kind of over the child's head to connect. That's called the Australian method. In either method, you only want to remove the slack from the tether strap. You don't pull it too tight, especially if you're Swedish style down to the front of the vehicle seat in front of the car seat. You will over recline the seat, and that could have a negative effect on its performance. But a Swedish tethered seat does significantly help controlling rebound in the event of a crash. So properly used is very significant in performance.
Do the convertibles have the how on the infant car seats you have the levels?
Yes.
So you can see that it's leveled properly. Does the convertible as well have that for rear facing?
On all of the current Britax convertibles, we have a blue line on the side of the car seat, and that is a guideline. When that line is level to the ground, your recline angle of your car seat is about 37 degrees. So it can be installed anywhere from 30 to 45 degrees. You'd want to use closer to 45 for that younger baby that doesn't have control over their head. You could go as most upright to 30 degrees for the older child, which means that line is going to be a little bit off in either direction.
Okay.
So it's not a true level to ground line. It is just a guideline.
Right. So, and that's for rear and forward facing, or just rear facing?
That is only for rear facing.
Gotcha. Okay, very good. Good to know. Because I know with the levels on the infant car seats, a lot of people have confusion on what they're supposed to be doing. That's when you're installing your base. You would put that in, you would actually try to install that right before your baby's born so that you know that it's actually to make sure the base is installed properly if you're using a base.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. And there are several different types of recline indicators on infant carriers as well, and there's many that use the bubble, like a workman's level bubble, as
Yes.
does the Britax.
Yes.
The Britax Be Safe um, has a little bit different type of indicator, but the Britex Chaperone that has the bubble, you just have to get that bubble anywhere between the two lines.
Mm-hmm.
Same with some other seats, but then there's one particular brand out there that the bubble has to be centered on the line,
Gotcha.
not between the lines.
Gotcha.
So it's very important to read the user guide.
Okay, and that would have to do with the pitch of your seat too. So, different cars have different pitches. That's going to determine whether the seat is too angled or not, and that's where the bubble's going to be able to tell you whether the seat's in the right placement.
Correct, because the bubble should always bring you to the same
Mm-hmm.
angle from vertical.
Yep.
Depending on the pitch of your vehicle seat will
Yes.
determine if the adjustability in the car seat base is enough, or maybe you need to use a pool noodle.
Yeah.
If allowed by the car seat manufacturer.
Gotcha. And so that would be something that you could take to be installed, like at the police station or a certified car seat installation center.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and most of those facilities, if you don't have those styrofoam pool noodles in many areas in the December, you can't find them, but many of our car seat checking stations do have them on hand.
Gotcha. Excellent. Okay, great. Let's see here. More questions. This one came from Tian, and she's saying in the USA, so she's somewhere here in the USA. When my baby reaches 2 years old, can I switch her from an infant car seat to a convertible car seat? And so I guess the question is, comparing convertibles to, she wants to know, at 2 years old, does she switch to a convertible car seat then, or would it be sooner?
Chances are that baby is going to be in a convertible car seat before 2 years of age.
Most likely the height.
Height or even weight capacity, because there are still infant car seats on the market that start at 20 or end at 22 pounds.
Right.
So when that child is approaching 22 pounds, you would need to get the next step of car seat, which would be a convertible used rear facing.
Yes.
Then again, there are infant car seats out there that go up to 35 pounds.
Yes.
So we as mom might get not be able to carry the baby in that infant car seat outside of the vehicle, but we could leave it in the car and just take the baby in and out.
Gotcha.
A smaller child, they could still be using it at 2. Regardless of the child's age, whether it's an infant seat, depending on its weight capacity,
Yes.
or a convertible, we just always want to use the car seat according to the fitment requirement for any direction, but because we're talking about rear facing.
Yes. Yes. Okay, great. I'm going to get off the topics here because I'm seeing some questions in the chat room here. They're asking questions about like accessories, like bundle me's, things that you put into the car seat, things that have not been bought or purchased with the car seat. But obviously it's now winter time. People are concerned about keeping their babies warm. We talked a little bit on the last episode about, turning their jackets inside out, putting blankets over them once they're in the seat, not strapping them in with gigantic, winter snowsuits. But what about these other things that are sold, like a bundle me that goes into the car seat the baby's sitting in to keep them warm?
Okay.
Specifically for infants.
Yes, and I'm just going to refer to that not by brand, but by a style, more of like a sleeping bag style that has harness slots that go through the sleeping bag.
Yes, yes.
And you then are adding padding between the child's back and the seat cell, and that is really not accepted by pretty much any car seat manufacturer because that material will compress in the event of a crash. If you are absolutely compelled to use an accessory, while it is still considered an accessory, and there is another style out there that is I refer to as a shower cap style, that you secure the baby in the car seat in their normal clothing, get the harness nice and snug, and then this cover just has an elastic rim around it. Again, many car seat manufacturers would consider this a non-approved accessory, but as a technician, if you're asking me which one to use, I would prefer that you use the shower cap style because it does not add material between the child and the car seat or the harness and the child.
Yeah. Have they done any safety testing with these? I mean, I'm assuming they've been around for a long time. So my question is, obviously to be safer, if it's not been tested or if it's not made by the manufacturer, then I guess they're going to say not to use it. But would they do safety testing in order to keep it on the market?
Well, for accessories such as the items we're talking about, there are no Federal Motor Vehicle safety standards for performance of car seats that are required for these devices. So they often do say meet federal safety standards or meet some sort of standard, but it's more than likely something simple as the Consumer Product Safety Commission choking hazard or flammability requirements. But they do and can affect the performance of car seats. We, as a car seat manufacturer, there are so many of these devices out there that we just don't have the ability nor the financial support to test
everyone.
Right. So note that there are a few car seat manufacturers that do manufacture accessories for their brand of car seat. And if it's, if the packaging doesn't say it's for brand X, model A, then you shouldn't use it with brand X, model A.
Absolutely. So I can think of some car seats that do make them for themselves. I guess those have been tested. If your car seat does not have one tested, probably not a good idea because you don't know how it's going to react in a car accident.
That's correct. And oftentimes, it's not so much when we say don't do something or don't use something that we know something bad would happen.
Right.
The problem is we haven't tested it, so we don't know that it will perform as necessary.
Understood. That's good. I think there's a lot of people who have those questions, especially now. It's so cold out. Everybody's looking for something, so you want to just make sure you're safe. And there are other ways to do it. I mean, I know when I'm showing how to swaddle a baby, obviously you can't swaddle a baby while they're in a car seat. You need to strap them in, but then you can, put blankets tucked around them, like you were saying, put their jackets on inside out. There are ways to keep them warm.
Yes. And instead of spending that extra money on these zipper cap type things, blankets that you already have for your baby will work just as well, because you want to be able to give that baby air once you get into the vehicle, especially if you're going to be in there for any length of time. You tend to wrap them all up, and they start sweating in the back seat while we're driving down the road and take our coat off.
Right. Speaking of driving down the road, someone had a question here. Where is it? About fussy babies. Let's see. Where's the one that I saw? Hold on. I'm going to find it here. She wanted to know. She was talking about, what are our recommendations about, she has a fussy baby. Do we have any recommendations of what we can do with the fussy baby while we're driving and they're sitting rear facing?
Okay. The first.
Oh, I see who it is. Let's give her credit for the question. This was from Jan in California. Do you have any suggestions for settling a fussy infant when he's in a rear-facing car seat and I'm the only adult in the car?
Okay. The first point I'd like to make is that I assure you that it's not because the child is rear-facing. Please do not consider turning them forward-facing.
Yes.
Whether they're young or older, forward or rear facing, they get a lot of stimulation just from the movement of things passing by.
Yes.
First and foremost is when at all possible, obviously plan your travel in between and around their feeding time and their nap time. If you've got them out in and out of the vehicle when it's normally they're home, taking their morning nap or the afternoon nap, that may be a sacrifice that you're going to have to make.
Right.
So try to plan around those types of events if at all possible.
Yes.
There are simple things that work for some children, and that's simply music.
Yes.
Is there a type of music that will soothe them? And then I also ask, when we're talking about fussy, is it the little whimpering fussy, or is it that screaming mad, I want out of here kind of cry?
Yeah.
And that kind of cry obviously may require more attention than you can give while you're moving in a vehicle, and may require you to stop.
And if it's out of the ordinary kind of cry, there could be something wrong. I mean, you really want to take a look. Anytime your baby's crying out of the ordinary, you really want to take a look. Is there something wrong, or is the seatbelt pinching them in some way? Are they in pain? Sometimes they can have a hair wrapped around a finger and you don't know it. And
Sari, that's a very good point, and I try to tell parents that when I teach expectant parent class, is that you will learn the cry of your baby.
Yes.
Is it a painful cry?
Yes.
Or is it a cry that I just want attention?
Yes. Yes.
And depending on which one of those you determine it is, you would need to react differently.
Yeah.
Of course.
Absolutely. One of the things I used to do, my children just loved movement, as most children do, which is why babies do really well in the car usually, because they're being moved. And I just remember, I'll never forget, as a new mom, just coming up to a red light up ahead and thinking, oh no, I'm going to need to stop, and stopping like way far back and just pumping the brakes as I got to the red light, hoping it would change before I got there.
Well, that sounds like quite an inventive way, but if it worked,
it totally worked. It totally worked for me. I would look for red lights like a mile away, because they would go nuts the minute the car would stop. So.
Well, and that few minutes, if you do have to come to a complete stop, and that's when they fuss, is when you're stopped, because they like moving.
Yes.
Remember that babies do need to exercise their lungs a little bit.
Yes.
Of course, there is that amount of time and how that's acceptable, and that would be too stressful for the child. But
or for mom, Yeah. I think sometimes the crying's more stressful for mom than anybody else. I think to myself, I couldn't think when my children were crying, so it was not easy. But you're right.
Right.
Sometimes they just need to let it out a little. They need to let it out. Okay, so here's a question. This came from Catherine in New Jersey. Catherine was asking, while rear facing, do you need an inch from the back of the seat to the car seat? And in what position should the handlebar be?
That's a very good. Well, actually, that's two very good questions. And I'm going to answer the handlebar question first. It's a little bit shorter and easier. Several years ago, every infant car seat said put the handle all the way down while moving in the vehicle. Today, it varies based on manufacturer and even model within a specific manufacturer. So check the labels on the side of your car seat. Many of them have labels that tell you where the handle must be during travel.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're going to find it in the user guide. Both of the Britax infant car seats, to be safe, and the chaperone, the handle can be in any locked position. But again, that does vary depending on manufacturer. So check with your specific car seat and manufacturer.
Great.
As far as space between the back of the car seat and the front of the vehicle seat, in front of it, there is a manufacturer out there that had a specific requirement, and I believe it was many of the even flow infant seats that had the Z handle on it, required 1.5 inches of space. And they required that space because they required the handle to be down. So the handle needed to rotate past the head of the car seat. But again, that was a specific requirement of that car seat.
Yes.
When we talked about the car seat, the child restraint touching the vehicle seat or a certain amount of space, you also want to check your vehicle owner's manuals.
Yes.
There are features that are built into our cars today called occupant detection systems or sensing systems, and the functionality of those systems can actually be affected by pressure against the back of the front passenger seat.
Oh, okay.
So please check your owner's manual of your vehicle. Note that there's not anything, I haven't seen any that specifically say car seat pushing against. But we have to use a little deductive reasoning because they are talking about don't let children push their feet against the back of the vehicle seat.
And that would have to do with the airbags in the front?
It has to do with your right front passenger airbag deployment. Your seatbelt systems can have different added devices built into them that are all told to fire or activate based on the deployment and these sensors weighing the occupant of the car sitting in that right front seat.
So basically what you're saying is if somebody was sitting in the front seat and there was enough counter pressure from the back, it could deactivate the airbag for that passenger.
Or affect it in a manner that it would not deploy as necessary. Because many of them, the seat will weigh how heavy the occupant is. Yeah. And the speed and the force of the airbag could be deployed relative to that occupant.
Wow, never knew that.
If it's not functioning properly, that passenger could be at risk.
Right. Right. I never knew that. Even more of a reason to get my little one to stop kicking the back of my seat, huh?
Yeah, and as moms, we say, really, do you know how hard that would be?
Right.
But every effort that we can make to keep them from those tasks.
Right. Well, now she knows. Now she knows she's going to lose her DS if she does it. So there you go. Once they get old enough to understand what it means to have something taken away, it becomes easier to get them to do what you want, I guess.
To get their attention, huh?
to get their attention quickly. You think they're not listening to you till you say something like that, and then you go, oh, they're hearing every word I say. I think we have.
It's called selective hearing.
Somebody in the chat room was asking about travel, and I think we addressed this in the broadcast 2 weeks ago. So we're not going to go into travel with the car seats and air travel because we did go quite a bit into that. So if anybody missed that, go back and watch the original episode. And we did talk about it. There's just one more question, and I think we're going to be finished for today. The question came in from Erica in Idaho, and she's saying, what seat would you recommend for a 38-pound, 4.5-year-old child?
Okay, I would recommend keeping the child in a harness as long as possible, simply because it helps keep them in position much better than a vehicle seatbelt. If you consider moving your child into a booster, I'll ask you to sit in your vehicle seatbelt, buckle it, drop your keys on the floor, and bend over to pick them up. That is the freedom that a child in a belt positioning booster will have. So if your child is not mature enough, has issues sitting still for the entire ride, every ride, chances are they are not ready for that booster seat or that seat belt yet. So a Frontier 85, for instance, goes to 85 pounds with the internal harness, and then it will convert to a high back belt positioning booster when the child's ready to do so.
Right. And we need to remember that when you're using it on a child, correct me if I'm wrong, over 48 pounds, then you cannot use the tethers anymore, even if you're using the internal seat straps, right? You need to use a seat belt to secure the seat to the car.
You're going to need to check your vehicle owner's manual. The weight capacities for the lower anchors or the latch anchors are very specific in many vehicles. It's either 40 or 48, depending on the manufacturer. Subaru does allow the use of the top tether when using, I believe, a seatbelt up to 60 pounds. So again, this is one thing when it first came out, it was pretty much the same. but everybody in the vehicle world does have a little bit of a different twist on it now.
Yeah, yeah. It's great to know. I mean, that was something I think even I was not aware of how low a lot of the cars go to for the tether requirements, and how you need to you need to use the car seat, to use the seatbelt straps in order to keep the car seat in place.
That is correct.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, this is fantastic. Sarah, we've got all these people joining the chat room now. They're having a party here. I think they're going to stay after we leave here. Woohoo, right? They're starting New Year's Eve early.
Questions answered today.
I think we did. I think we got through all. Oh, you know what? There was one question that came in. Let's do one more. There was one question that came in that was posted on our Facebook page, and I don't want to ignore it. Let's see. It was... let's see. It came from Angela, and Angela said, my daughter's too big for her carrier now, and we're switching over to a convertible seat. We want to keep her rear facing, but we have a small 2-door vehicle. What's the best solution to keep her rear facing, but also be sure she's not going to be too close to the front passenger seats? Her carrier already shoves my seat forward, and I'm almost all the way forward. Any suggestions for her?
There really aren't a lot of suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
If her 2-door vehicles are typically pretty small.
Yep.
There are some small convertibles on the market that don't take up as much room front to back.
Yes.
The Britax convertibles do have a high weight capacity,
yes.
but the new design of the current convertibles does take up less space front to back.
Yes.
So I would encourage you to go to a retailer and try their floor models in your vehicle. This is going to be a challenge, though, especially if mom and dad have any height to their stature.
Yeah.
Because they're going to need to position those vehicle seats appropriate for themselves.
Yep.
If you do have one child that is rear facing, try to get that car seat in the rear center seating position, because typically when that car seat is rear facing, it will sit in between the two front bucket seats.
Yeah, and you'll have more room.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a little bit more room out of it that way. But know that retailers will let you take car seats out and try them in your vehicle.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to leave a driver's license or a credit card at the customer service desk.
Yep. Time for a minivan.
Unfortunately, it may be time for a new vehicle.
Exactly. Okay, one more question. I'm sorry, we're going to go for one more question because I'm going to get every question answered if we're going to do this show. This is from Amanda, again, a Facebook entry. I've noticed some boosters have latch, and I've read that you're supposed to secure the seat when it's unoccupied so that it doesn't become a hazard in case of a crash or a sudden stop. Would it be safe to leave the booster latched into the vehicle all the time, even when it's not in use, if it's being used as a booster mode with a seatbelt?
Yes. Most, or if not all, of belt positioning boosters that have the lower anchors on them, their ultimate purpose is to keep that booster seat in position even when it's not occupied.
Yes.
Because it is best practice. You keep it seat belted in when the child's not in it, so it's not a flying object during a crash.
Yeah. Pretty scary.
And then you leave it secured in the vehicle with the lower anchors even when the child is in it and the seat belt is securing the child.
Gotcha.
There is no, even if the child is above that 40 or 48 pounds that we're talking about, in the event of a crash, the load does not exceed that limit on those lower anchors because it's only going to see the weight of the car seat.
Gotcha.
The seat belt is going to see the load of the child.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, and it would seem like it would keep the seat from sliding forward.
It does as well. It has some added, features that aren't so easy to promote, but its primary purpose is to keep that belt positioning booster positioned in the vehicle at all times.
Perfect. Sarah, we did it. We got through all of the questions that people had for us. We finished for the night, for the day here.
Awesome. That is awesome.
We got it done before the new year ended, too. What do you know?
That's great.
They're having a party here. Everybody's having a New Year's Eve a New Year's party here in the chat room. Oh, Joe's saying, okay, let's not forget to remind everybody that we have 1 day left of our fantastic Britax giveaway car seat contest. There is still time to enter if you have not, and if you have and you want to get some more entries, there are ways to do it. Joe put them all up there on our Rafflecopter contest. Just check out our Facebook page at Shari Criso Fan, and you'll find the link to our Britax giveaway. We have, what is it, a little over 1 day, a little over 24 hours left.
They want you to post this replay and get points for sharing it.
Ah, okay. All right. Joe's saying you guys want us to post this replay and get points for sharing it. We'll do it. Okay, we will do. You know, we're so generous with our points here. We'll give you some points. We'll give you some points. How about 2 points for posting the replay, Joe? Sound good?
Awesome.
Joe wants 3. Okay, we're going with 3. See, he's a softie. He could tell he has daughters, right?
Joe.
Or the faithful. The faithful are here with me on a Friday afternoon, you know, not usual time. So yes, okay. 3 points for posting the replay today. 3 points towards tomorrow's contest. I wish you all very good luck with the contest. Sarah, thank you for joining me once again. I think we're going to be doing this again quite often.
Well, thank you, Shari, and I look forward to it.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we wish everybody a very happy new year, and I won't be seeing you again till the next year. And enjoy tomorrow night, enjoy the weekend, and I'll see you in 2012, everybody. Good night. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.